In this video, we're taking a look at Go Collect's hottest comics for the week of 12/19, and shockingly, there's no MCU books on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas last week and got some really cool books under your tree. I got a really awesome gift, and that is that the channel hit 500 subscribers. So thank you guys to everyone who subscribed, helping us get to that milestone. Very, very cool. And hopefully we can continue the trend upward and maybe reach the next goal of 1,000. So I guess with that being said, if you aren't subscribed to the channel, that'd be a great time to help us get to that goal. If you could drop me a like or a comment or subscribe, really, really appreciate it. All right, with that being said, in this video, I'm going to take a look at Go Collect's hottest comics for the week of 12/19. And I thought that this was a really interesting week because for those who don't know, last week I did a video reviewing the Go Collect article from that week, and I was really curious to see what movement there was going to be in the market because we recently had Disney Investor Day and there was a lot of MCU news, so I would have thought that that would have had a big effect on what comics were moving. And similarly, I thought that this week might have a lot of trickle over from Disney Investor Day and we'd see more movement within MCU books, but apparently that's not what happened because we actually have no MCU books on this week's Go Collect Hottest Comics. In fact, we only have two different characters, and that is Red Sonja and Spawn, which is really interesting because who would have thought that those would be the characters that were taking off? So with that being said, we're going to take a look at this article, and I'm going to kind of read through it and look at it with you guys and maybe give some analysis, and then we can sort of figure out like, what's going on and why are these characters getting so hot and why the market is moving to them. But so with that being said, let us take a look at the article right here, and that is a Go Collect article written by Matt Tuck. So he has here commented on the top that says, Spawn and Red Sonja, hottest comic trends. Now, for those who don't know, Go Collect puts out a weekly article that analyzes the top sales for CGC books. And they put it even better than I can put it right here, which is to say, the hottest comics index is based off the week's worth of eBay sales data, regardless of fair market values. This list reveals the biggest movers and shakers of the comic world in terms of sales volume. So that is to say, these are the comics that are moving the most in terms of the data on eBay. So presumably these are the ones that the community is currently the most interested in or speccing on the most. And we're going to take a look at which ones are on this list and then kind of talk about it from there. So I'm going to go to the bottom here because it's always kind of more fun to start from the number 5 slot and then move to higher and higher. And luckily the two ones at the bottom are related to each other. And that is Conan the Barbarian, number 23, and then Conan the Barbarian, number 24. And for those who don't know what the significance of these comic books are, that is that they are the first cameo appearance and first full appearance of Red Sonja. Now, Red Sonja is a character, I don't know too much about her or the Conan mythos. I was never really into that character so much, but suffice to say, she is like kind of the 1A and 1B to the Conan. She's a very important character within the universe. And there's been a lot of talk recently about Conan getting a live action Netflix show or some kind of property that could be translated into a movie of some kind. There's been a lot of speculation of that. And similarly, Conan as a property was actually reacquired by Marvel. So now, as you can see, if you guys are paying attention to the modern comic books, there's actually a Conan run that's going on. So Conan has been a character that has been generating more heat within context to the comic book culture. And similarly, because of the rumors of there being a movie in the works or perhaps a Netflix show, he's been becoming hot as a character. And recently, in the last couple weeks, the Conan books have actually been getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And I guess this is like the natural sort of fallout to that is, once the market has specced on a book like Conan, well, it's only natural that, the periphery books related to that property are going to spike too. And in this case, it is going to be Red Sonja now, which is going to be her turn for her books to get hot. And these are the two books that she appears in first, which is the Conan number 23 and number 24. Additionally, there has been a lot of talk about her getting a Netflix series as well. In fact, if you go onto IMDb Pro, you can actually see that there is development going on with her series. Now, who knows what that means? Is that something that is going to happen in 2021, or is that something that's going to happen, 5 years from now, or perhaps never? But, regardless, there are people out there who are currently developing a show for her, and that's really exciting for the comic book speculators. And people are really excited about her, and she's actually a pretty cool character from what I can gather. Now, one thing I thought was kind of interesting to relate to another video I did the other week, which is about first appearances and cameos and covers and everything, is just to show you guys really quick. So apparently Conan number 23 is the first cameo appearance of Red Sonja, and you can see here the cover, which she's not featured on. And then the next book, which is Conan 24, there you see her on the cover. And this is really interesting to me because when I was looking at the numbers and looking at the data, it actually is showing that the number 23 book is, typically speaking, higher in value across the board. The 9.8, we have 2050 for her right there, not on the cover. And then her first appearance, we actually have 1250 for the 9.8, which was really interesting to me. So I don't really know why that is, that this book here has a higher value. Maybe it's because people, for a long time, maybe this was coined as being her first appearance, even though it's her cameo, and maybe people were more interested in that. But I would take a guess that as these books continue to heat up, and as people continue to spec on her, and I bet when and if she ever does get a series and she becomes like a notable character within pop culture, I have a suspicion that this book will take over as far as the go-to book, because again, cover appeal, covers matter. And having her fully involved within the story of the comic and the collectability aspect. I mean, seeing her there. I mean, this one to me, subjectively, is just way more badass to own. So, I would suspect that, if you're someone out there who's speculating and wants to pick up one of these books, I would definitely target number 24 because she's on the cover. And just for that reason alone, I feel like that book's going to always have a higher ceiling potential than number 23, which is her cameo. All right, let's move on to the other books here. And luckily, like I said earlier, it's only about the hottest comics are only 2 characters here. So we talked about Red Sonja, and now we got to talk about Spawn. And he actually has 4 books that are spiking in the market. But we'll start with number 147 here. And 147 has gone up 852 spots. And what is the significance of this? Apparently, this is Spawn as a gunslinger version of himself that is sort of back into the current storyline. So in this particular issue, which is 174, Spawn had his first appearance as being a gunslinger, and that gunslinger character has now come back into the current Spawn storyline, which they're on number 311 or whatever like that. So as these things tend to be, when they rehash sort of old dynamics of certain characters or certain elements of characters within the current story, then the first appearance of those things end up being really popular. So I guess now, people have a new sort of elevated interest in acquiring Spawn 174, which is his gunslinger appearance. And, just looking at this cover and evaluating it, I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, it's a super, really, really moody cover. Super badass, Spawn 174, first gunslinger. So I totally understand why people would be interested in this beyond the fact that he's taking place in the current storyline. All right, and now going on to sort of the last 3 that I'll talk about all together, which is going to be Spawn number 1, Spawn number 2, which is now at 77, up 953 spots, and Spawn number 8, which is number 79, currently number 79, up 920 spots. Now, really quickly to point out, Spawn number 8 is the first written by Alan Moore, so that's kind of why it's sort of special. And then it's the second the second Vindicator appearance. Now, I'm not super versed in the Spawn universe, but obviously, if this is a comic that has a first appearance of a notable figure within the Spawn lore, this is always going to be spec'd on in a way. And so I think that's why the market has been, attracted to this book as a number 8 collectible. And then similarly, Spawn number 2, this is obviously, because it's a number 2, it's going to be the second appearance of Spawn. And it's also the first appearance of Violator in a clown form, and second appearance of Sam and Twitch. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. Spawn number 1, I'm sure everybody had this comic book, you know, in the early 90s who were comic collectors. This is like, you know, one of the key books within the Copper Age. Todd McFarlane, classic, you know, first appearance of Spawn, first appearance of Wanda, Spawn's love interest, first appearance of Sam and Twitch, characters related to the Spawn universe. And this is really cool because I think there's multiple reasons that this is getting hot. Like, first, we have Todd McFarlane apparently is connected to do or attached to do a movie. So people are excited about that. It's rumored Jamie Foxx is on board to play Spawn, which is going to be really cool. Todd McFarlane being the writer-director, this is going to be his first movie. I don't know how that's going to manifest in terms of, you know, him being able to translate his storytelling skills to, you know, the big screen. Could be successful, could be a flop, who knows? But people are excited about that. But more importantly, I think what's going on here is, you know, I made a video recently that talked about the 90s comic book boom and what was going on with things like Darkhawk and Sleepwalker and Ninja Turtles and all these sort of books. And what I was getting at in that video was that I think we're hitting a point now where the early 90s books, as much as they were memed on at the time for them having like cheesy covers and foils and gimmicks and all that sort of stuff. I mean, we're now already like 30 years removed from that. And there's a lot of people who are, you know, older, who are now in their 20s, who were kids back then, who probably loved those books and now are starting to sort of spec on them. And, you know, if we got people wanting to get after Darkhawk, we got people wanting to get after Ninja Turtles, Spawn seems to be the next in line. You know, Spawn is finally that character that, you know, nostalgia is starting to brew, and people are you know, thinking about this character and wanting to get their hands on this book before it gets too hot again. And similarly, you know, in the current Spawn storyline, his issue hit, you know, a milestone 300. It's like the longest running single character series, which is really cool. So, you know, not only is there movement and traction within context to the, you know, film and live action world, causing, you know, an uptick in sort of pop culture awareness, but, you know, in just the comic book hobby as a whole, the comic book collector hobby as a whole, he already has awareness because, you know, he's hit this milestone issue. So now people want to go back and get their hands on that #1 issue. So it's pretty cool. You know, Spawn #1, a great issue, great character, and, you know, he's a character that I think is going to be around for a long time. I mean, he was created by Todd McFarlane, and he's had such a long run, and he's really cool. So I understand why these books are starting to take off, and you know, we'll see. You know, we'll see how far they go, how far they can, you know, go up, and if that live action movie ever really comes out and Spawn is, you know, really solidified into sort of like the pop culture entertainment sphere, you know, the sky's the limit for this book. Anyways, that's all I got for this video. This is me taking a look at Go Collect's hottest comic for the week of 12/19. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any of these books? Are you guys fan of the characters? Have you been specking on them in any sort of way? Let me know in the comments. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.